Blue corner, decked out in blue, trimmed in orange, out of Gainesville, Florida. Colors of the Florida Gators, as a matter of fact. And in the purple pants there you see him. Leo Laux, considered by many to be one of the stars in this classification, though he's trying to make a comeback. He's lost in his last 2 bouts in the last year. In fact, had an opportunity to win the world championship and lost out to Leroy Taylor.
Leo Laux has a hard time, or has had the history of having a hard time with a good front leg and with tall fighters. Now Richard Hill has a good front leg, as we're seeing, and he's a tall fighter. 5'11", he has a 4-inch reach advantage.
Laux likes to get in there and mix it up. Must get inside because of that lack of height. He's only 5'7", 145 pounds.
Fight out of there, fight out of there.
Leo Laux, formerly a #1 world rank contender, has had kind of a rough past 12 months or so. Lost to Leroy Taylor, then lost to Kenny Comer.
They were, in fact, the Taylor bout, they were filling the void left by Tommy Williams in the light welterweight division.
Laux really likes to load up that left hand. He's a constant pressure fighter. He's getting Hill in trouble early. Putting him over in the corner. Hill needs to keep a lot of ring behind him. He needs to stay out in the middle of the ring, keep his backs away from that rope.
There you see the side kicks. Attempted side kicks coming from Hill. That one snuck through, and he got Laux on the ropes. Hill, only 25 years of age, from Gainesville, began Kung Fu at the tender age of 13. Working on a bachelor's degree in health science at the University of Florida, will be a physician's assistant when this semester ends in 3 months.
Hill doing a good job now. Hill's a very intelligent fighter. He makes adjustments, as we see Laux moving Hill into the ropes, but he makes adjustments very well. He learns from his mistakes.
Body punching down low by Laux. Coming up to the end of round number 1.
Once again, a good left hand there by Laux, showing again that's his best punch. He's left-handed, throws it very, very strong, real nice and tight.
Round number 2 now. We're scheduled for 7, the light welterweight division. Richard Hill in blue, trimmed in gold, Leo Laux in purple.
This is really a very important fight for Leo Laux. He really has to win this fight. Richard Hill is honorable mention in the world ratings. If he can win today, it'll put him right into the world ratings. And Laux, again, would be looking at 3 losses in his last 3 attempts. And not a good place for him to be.
Hill is considered a comer in this sport. He beat the Canadian champion in his last time out. That one snuck through, a good left from Laux. Oh, and a good back kick coming from Richard Hill.
This fight is scheduled for 7 rounds. I don't know if Richard Hill can keep up against that kind of pressure that Laux is throwing in.
Fight out of there. Don't hold. Keep busy.
Referee Truman Irving told him to fight out, no holding. Holding is not allowed in PKA karate.
Oh, that left got through by Laux, and it had Hill on his heels.
Laux has scored the hardest blows of the fight, if not the most total number of punches.
Well, he recognizes that he has to get inside the more rangy Richard Hill.
He also has to kick. Each fighter has to hit 8 hard kicks each round, a minimum of 8 hard kicks, or they are penalized. So fighters can't just get inside and use their hands to stay there.
2 fighters looking for championship form someday. One guy on the way up, Laux fighting to stay in the hunt for a championship bout against Leroy Taylor. We're coming down to the end of round number 2 between Richard Hill and Leo Laux.
We see Leo Laux moving in here, throwing the left hook, which is really his best punch, and nailing Hill right on the chin. Hill can take a punch, because if he couldn't, that one would have hurt him a lot worse than it did.
Round number 3. Richard Hill and Leo Laux. How do you have this one scored to this point, John?
My scoring is unofficial. The judges at ringside are scoring on a 10-point must system, but I've got that 20-19 in favor of Leo Laux after 2 rounds.
Hill on the aggressive side here in round number 3 with some good kicks. Laux does have to take a lot of punishment, though, because of the style that he employs.
Well, Laux is showing already some swelling around his right eye. He had a little trouble in his last fight with Ken Comer that he got a cut. And he's showing some puffiness around that right eye that could really be a problem for him later in the fight. Hill kind of spinning and doing just a jabbing back kick there. Didn't really lock it out on Laux, but throws it nice and short.
A definite Canadian-American matchup. One guy that's just in there for the 7 rounds will continue to throw punches, take a few in order to get his win, versus a guy like Hill, more of a finesse type.
A little more of a technician is Richard Hill. Has more dexterity, more variety with his kicking. Nice side kick to the face there.
And he scored and then came back with combinations. His handwork, his left and right hands don't seem to be telling, but they are annoying.
Well, you know, he's really using that right-hand jab, Richard Hill is, very effectively on Laux. He's sticking it in. He's at this point scoring certainly more blows than Hill is. Hill trying to land the big haymaker. Rather, Laux trying to land the hard punch.
Hill seems to be at times holding back somewhat, not moving as much, perhaps waiting it out, realizing he may have to go the 7-round distance to come away with a decision as we come down to the end of the 3rd round.
Right up there to the face, side kick to the face. Not too many fighters do that very effectively. Richard Hill certainly does, and follows up with nice hand combinations.
Seconds out.
You can tell in that corner that they're also very concerned about Laux.
I would say they'd be very concerned about that right eye. It's been swelling up on him. They keep trying to keep the swelling down between rounds.
This is the 4th round. We're scheduled for 7 light welterweights. Tim Brando and John Worley with you here on ESPN. EKA Karate. Leo Laux, formerly the #1 contender in this classification. He's in purple. And now there's some blood streaming down above his right eyebrow. Richard Hill in blue, trimmed in orange, and Laux, recognizing that he needs to come back with some authority, has landed a couple of good blows here in the 4th round.
Laux is going to have to take chances. He's not going to want to have to fight this kind of fight, but he has got to go after him. With that cut, that's got to be a very definite concern for Leo Laux. He's going to want to go out and try to end it early.
Watch the head. Watch the head.
Anytime that happens, it leaves him vulnerable to good counterpunching. Richard Hill is a good counterpuncher.
Don't hold. Don't hold.
Well, he's not giving himself a lot of room, though, between Laux. He's pretty much coming in on him.
Hill doesn't seem to have any hesitancy to go ahead and get inside with Laux at this point. He feels confident.
Watch those elbows.
First couple of rounds, he was keeping his distance. He was using those side kicks to set up short combinations. Perhaps now he's grown in confidence and is willing to wail away at his opponent in Leo Laux.
I would guess that Richard Hill probably had a lot of concern about the strength of Laux. Maybe after 3 rounds he doesn't feel like Laux is that much stronger than he is, or maybe he isn't stronger.
Push down. Let's fight. Come on, get busy.
Truman Irving telling the fighter to get busy.
Truman Irving is excellent referee. He does a great job up there. He's right on top of things. You can always tell a good referee because he's never in the picture.
Yeah. So he's not worried about airtime. Is that what you're telling me?
He stays out of the way.
Those left rights have slowly taken its toll on that eye of Leo Laux. Blood streaming down now pretty well from that right eye.
I'm sure they'll take a look at that between rounds.
Laux from London, Ontario, so he's pretty much the homespun star of this tandem that we have here in Hull, Quebec, Canada. We're in round number 5 from Hull, Quebec, light welterweights. Leo Laux in purple and Richard Hill in blue. Hill of Gainesville, Florida. Laux from London, Ontario. Hill is scoring with those jabs, setting them up nicely. Appears to be in total control now, John.
Really does. The last few rounds, Hill has been very methodically just coming in and starting to figure out Leo Laux, beating him to the punch with his hands and keeping him off balance with his kicks.
The last old 30 seconds or so, he has thrown a punch or a kick. He really hasn't stopped.
He's staying very, very active up there. I think Leo Laux is really having problems right now. He needs to land one of those big left hands and try to take back the pace of this fight.
You can tell that Hill is using his left hand on that right eye of Laux. He's trying to measure his opponent.
Hill really having his way now.
Laux trying to stave his man off with an occasional front kick. Remember now, you have to throw at least 8.
Minimum of 8 hard kicks each round, or the fighters are penalized. And neither of these fighters had any problem whatsoever in making those kicks. Hill, what I would guess, is probably averaging 12 or 14 hard kicks every round.
Oh, spinning back fist that caught Laux. As we mentioned, not a great deal of thunder in those punches from Hill, but they're really annoying Laux and giving that eye some trouble.
Laux
opened
can't
up
wait
the
this
cut
long.
again.
Laux cannot wait. He has to get out and take away the pace. He's got to take back that fight.
Coming down to the end of the round.
Get busy, get out, watch those foreheads. Okay.
Let's watch him work on this eye now.
There's that left leg round kick up to the head. Just a troublesome technique for Laux to have to deal with is that front leg. Try to get inside, and then when he does get inside, Richard Hill's been very effective with his hands. Hill's very, very impressive here tonight. He's done a great job.
Well, Laux had a pretty impressive round number 2. That was his best round. Now we're in the 6th, and he's running out of time because Hill has pretty much dominated. How do you have it scored to this point, John?
Well, at this point, unofficially, I've got Richard Hill with a 2-point edge, 49-47. Laux really is taking a pretty good thumping here tonight.
One of those types of fights where the guy's not really hurting, but you look at him and you hurt for him because he's really just taken so many blows. They've taken its toll in a
His face
short period of time.
doesn't look good at all. It looks like he's definitely getting a tough fight.
He's lunging forward now and lunging into rights and lefts. Good combination here from Hill.
Get your head out of there.
Laux has to be feeling very discouraged at this point. I think he probably knows what the situation is and is just at a loss as to how to deal with it.
Sort of reminds you, although it's not nearly as impressive a showing, as of the Longstreet versus McComb combination that we saw, because these two guys are textbook. McComb inside, although he didn't take the kind of punishment facially from Longstreet that Laux is taking now from Hill. And it does remind you a little bit of that bout.
Sure does. Tactician versus the plugger, although Laux just landed a good left hand. Best punch of the fight for him.
Just that quickly, here comes Hill.
Hill seemingly unhurt from it.
Don't lean, let fighters get out of there.
Now he's covering up, but a few of those blows are getting through. We're coming down to the end of the round, and it's looking more and more like a Richard Hill victory.
Richard Hill is back to the ropes, dodging away from Laux. Laux looks discouraged. He looks just discouraged at this point, like, oh, man, what's going on with me?
Leo Laux, as we begin the round, realizes what he has in front of him. We're in the final round, and Richard Hill's the one that's coming out with the flurry. Rights and lefts that connected. As we mentioned, Laux 15-3, but he's lost his last 2, and that's since being the #1 ranked contender. And that left side kick really leveled Laux's chin.
Laux has just been unable to get anything going with Richard Hill since the 2nd round. Hill made some adjustments, showed a lot of intelligence, a lot of ability to get out there and make adjustments quickly, and has taken the fight away from Leo Laux, and is now the aggressor and has been for the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Come on,
pushed the action, has scored the cleaner punches, certainly done the more damage.
We talked about the growth of PK karate in Canada, and it's certainly been shown, but Florida is also an excellent state now for PKA karate. There's some great young talent coming out of that state.
Always has been some good fighters there in Florida.
Come on,
Richard
get
Hill
busy.
certainly is doing the state
Come on, let's go.
proud tonight.
Blood coming from the left nostril of Laux, from his right eye, puffiness throughout his face. And Richard Hill has totally dominated, and you can tell right now he's totally dominating the final round as well.
Get the head out of there.
Laux trying to make a charge at the end of the round, and Richard Hill always there to answer with a barrage of punches in the corner.
Richard Hill has the ability to hit with 3s and 4s and 5s. Leo Laux seems to favor hitting with 1s and 2s. Anytime you're in that situation, you've got a mismatch.
Okay.
It's over.
Just all of the fight, fighting out of trouble, if he was ever in any trouble, picking up and hitting those good, clean shots.
All right, let's get the official decision now from ring announcer George Sylvain.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the judge's decision. Judge Verdun scores the fight 67-69. Judge Sears scores the fight 66-69. And Judge Lepave scores the fight 67-69. The winner by a unanimous decision, Richard Hill.
Laux' bad luck continues, and Richard Hill establishes himself as a contender in the light welterweight division.